She Loves Herself with Jill Ritchie, showing you how to embrace vulnerability and unearth your power within.
Hello, everybody. Happy Friday. Welcome back to another brand new episode of She Loves Herself, the podcast. I say happy Friday if you are listening to this on Friday. But if you're listening to this on any other day, hello. I hope that you're all well. We are back with a new episode. I'm joined by my incredible co-founder of the Intuitive Psychology Association and very, very dear friend, Sarah Gregg. We are loving this season and we've had so much great feedback. So we're bringing something really exciting to this episode because we get asked a lot about intuitive psychology. And in fact, we are the number one on Google search for intuitive psychology. So if you follow us on Instagram, we did a live this week about that and actually said, like, we rank number one on Google. People are looking for this. They're looking up the word intuitive, they're looking up the word psychology, and boom, they find us. So this is in people's awareness. Like, people are really feeling that call to their intuition. And we also get asked, how do you describe intuitive psychology? And it's so funny because when we get asked this, Sarah, we both kind of have to take a pause. Personally, for me, I haven't always found it easy to describe intuitive psychology because it is more of a feeling. And so I have to close my eyes when I actually try and talk about intuitive psychology or I'm describing it to someone because it comes from something that is not in the head. It's not always easy to articulate. And so we're going to talk about what intuitive psychology is today, aren't we, Sarah? So this is a really beautiful episode.
Yeah, we are. And I think when an idea comes to you in the way that it came to us, which was channeled through a download, through a calling, whatever you want, however you want to describe it, we created that term and that word. And it didn't come, like you said, from that place of fact or something that is already in conscious awareness. Like if I say the word, I'm a mindfulness teacher, or I can teach you more about gratitude, there's a conscious awareness of what that is. And what's really interesting, and actually from a psychology perspective, Carl Jung, who's one of the psychologists that we study as part of the curriculum, he would say that ideas kind of come in the collective unconscious. In other words, we're all tapped into this energy field, and ideas and us as human beings are tuned into this collective unconscious, this kind of energy field. And when ideas start to percolate, they can drop in for multiple people. So it's no surprise that this term came to us. Um, and we're finding the language around that as that idea forms its own life form, but also that this concept is coming to other people from across the world. Like our Google search results are crazy. Like it's so high, people who want this merge. So I think it will be beautiful to give language to you today, because maybe you follow us. Maybe you're like, I kind of get what they do. Like, I understand it. It's coaching, it's a bit of intuition, it's a bit of psychology. But let's give some depth to that. Let's really talk about what it means to be an intuitive psychology coach. Let's also talk about what a session with an intuitive psychology coach would look like and what you can expect, and also the type of people that use intuitive psychology coaching. So, this is a real opportunity to dive deeper into this new innovative form of coaching.
I love that. Can we just talk for like 2 minutes though? Like when we created it, when we were in that
Yeah.
Manchester, because I think it's always really nice. I'm quite a visual person. So when I hear a podcast, I like to feel like I'm in the room with them. I like when someone tells a story, Sarah, even when I read a book, I imagine the story. I imagine how the characters were and who they are. And so for this, like Sarah and I had known each other for a few years, and IP was created. I think it was always there for us, but it was at a really, I wouldn't say there were well, there was probably for me a more personal challenging time for me that I was going through, where I'd taken like 4 months out of work. through choice. I was going through quite a bit of grief at the time, and I was very connected to like source, universe, and my own intuition at the time, which was telling me to really just stop all my work and just be with grief, be with emotions. And at the same time, you were on a real journey yourself, Sarah. You were, um, where was it again? Taiwan,
Taiwan. Hmm.
right? And you were in this real crossroads of your life of, I'm being pulled back to the UK. A huge part of me doesn't want to be there, but I know that there's something that I need to go back for. And it was just so beautiful when you think about it, because we'd never met. We spoke practically all the time. We had weekly calls for a number of years, but we'd never met in person. And then we shared this, like these downloads that we were having. And then when we got together in Manchester, we decided to meet in Manchester. And it was so funny. I remember like I was in The Alchemist. We were going to meet in Alchemist. Now, this was before Shadow Alchemy, right?
Yeah.
I was just like, let's meet here. Okay, we'll go to The Alchemist. And you walked in, I was already there. We gave each other this massive hug. And we just got straight in. We only had a few days, and so we knew we had to get to work. And it was like you were asking me questions. And for me, like anyone that doesn't know me, I found it, I'm much better at it now. When I get in my head, I'm dead, is what I say, right? I just, when I get in my head, it just doesn't work. So Sarah would say to me, right, close down your eyes then, if it's easier. Like, because you were asking me questions, I'm like, I don't know how to say it. I don't know how to express it. And it was like, wait, close your eyes, because when I close my eyes, it's that journey inward, right? And that was like I'm saying to Sarah, like, when I close my eyes, I find it easier to talk because I speak from the heart and it's very intuitively led. And you were doing the same, and I was asking you questions like, close your eyes, like, how does it feel? What is this? And it was just this beautiful, like, and we would write certain words down. It was like we were both, this channel was coming through us
Hmm.
both. And it was so beautiful because we were dancing around with different words, and we were like, it needs to have intuition, but it needs to have something else. And I think it was you in the end that said, what about intuitive psychology? Like the two together. And we were like, oh my God, that's it.
Yeah.
That's and and that's why it's like, how do we actually share this with people? So I just wanted to put a bit of context and take you guys that are listening on that journey of really just trusting that you are where you're meant to be. And even though sometimes things feel like they're falling apart and that we're going backwards, sometimes we need to take that step back to really move forward, to let go of what was. And just because something works for you, like my business was doing really well, and even family were saying to me, like, what are you doing? Why are you not doing that? Why are you not doing that? And I loved what I did, but I knew it wasn't a head decision. It was an intuitive decision of, you need to take this time out. Why? Because this was being birthed. This was there. It was already done. I just needed to create space for it to come through. You needed to create space to come back so that we could connect, and for that be channeled through the two of us in that room, in that beautiful apartment in Manchester. And that's what happened, right?
Yeah. And it was just that real moment of synchronicity. Like you said, I was in Taiwan at the time, and how everything came about was really strange. I was going into these deep meditative practices, and I kept on seeing the UK. Like I would, it was so clear to me in the visualizations. I could see like the outline, the green. I knew where it was. I was like, but I'm in Taiwan, so why do I keep on seeing that? Like, what's that about? And then it was, COVID was kind of around. My little sister actually had a brain tumor. She was only 20 when she had her brain tumor. So, and she's fine now, she's fully recovered. But that was a big kind of shock, and being so far away from home was really, really hard for me. And so I felt this pull to come back, but it was more than being with family. It was this feeling and this knowing, like you said, I couldn't logically describe it. This knowing that I needed to be somewhere different. And if you're listening, perhaps you know that feeling of knowing, it doesn't make logical sense, but it's this pull and this other sensory experience that is still equally as real and valid. And I want to stress that, just because it might not have language around it doesn't mean that it's not a real feeling. And just because you can't see it exactly how it's meant to be, um, doesn't mean that it's not real knowledge and awareness. Like that is your intuition pulling you. And within, I think it was within a week, I said to my husband, I really feel like, I want to go back like to the UK. And I don't know why I feel like that, but I feel like I need to voice that. And he was super happy in Taiwan. He was like, we really had a great life out there. And he was like, right, okay. And we talked about it. We've always been on the same page up until that point. He didn't want to go and I did. And that was like a friction point. And then the universe, as it does, he got a phone call then offering a contract like back in the UK. And within 2 weeks, we were out of Taiwan, packed up and back. And that synchronicity, that knowing, had I not have trusted that, had I not have listened to that, had you not have listened to that, knowing, not knowing where it was going to bring us, not knowing the outcome, starting with a scrapbook that I like had in a Tesco bag, I think, from the works in this, like pulling it out and writing down all of these words, where would we have been? Like intuitive psychology wouldn't be here. There wouldn't be coaches out in the world creating huge transformations in their own life and in the lives of others. And a lot of the times, you don't need to know the answers. In fact, it's better that you don't, because that's the adventure of life. When everything is planned out for you, it's constrictive. You don't get to flow into your full potential. And if you're listening to this, I just want you to know, like, don't override those intuitive pulls because they don't always stay with you. There's a window of time and a window of opportunity to act on those.
I love that. Um, the thing with intuitive psychology is it's not always easy to have language around it, because let's talk about how it's much more of a feeling, but people want language around it. So um, it was funny, like even just we know an IP right inside out. We know everything about this business and more, every technique. But even now when we get asked about it, like talk about intuitive psychology, again, I still need to close my eyes and go inward, because it's just this beautiful creation that when you get in your head with you're off somewhere else, and actually you can't really articulate it. So I asked you to do something, right? And we were like, right, let's let's look at intuitive psychology and how would we describe it and who is it for? And I mean, don't get me wrong, we've done videos on it,
Yeah.
we've done posts and we've written about it, but there was something really special happened actually, and it was yesterday. And this is why we're actually talking about this today, because um, Sarah actually went away and then said, like, let me see if I can just create some language around it. And you've been working on it for quite a bit actually, hadn't you? You were like, and I think it's one of those things, again, it takes, when you close your eyes and you place your hand on your heart, it's like, let the words flow. And
Hmm.
I you did that and you shared it. You wrote this beautiful piece on it and you sent it to me last night. And she sent it to me, right? So if you're listening to this, I gets the WhatsApp notification, and I was like, right, okay, let me read this. And I was like, oh my God, I need to. And I FaceTimed you, didn't I? I was
Was
like,
eating my dinner. I
for
thought there
dinner.
was something wrong.
Like, all right, mate. All right, mate, eating our dinner. I was like, I had the biggest smile on my face. I was like, oh my God, it's beautiful. Because if you are an intuitive, if you're very spiritual, if you're not spiritual at all, um, you will get this. There's language for everyone in this. Tell us how that came through, Sarah, as you wrote it, because I'm actually going to ask you to read it, because I think
Mm.
um, just reading this extract of what you wrote, it just captures it beautifully. But yeah, tell us how that came through you.
Yeah, so I think, like you said, we know what intuitive psychology is. There's a website, there is a curriculum, there is multiple posts on it. But the challenge always is, how do you distill something that has layers of complexity into language that really lands and is simple? And that is something that I love to do. Like, that is my one of my joys in life. And so when I was thinking about it, I was like, we can explain it, but it's probably going to be like they're longer posts. The language it's not quite right. And how it comes through is ideas, patterns. Like, so I carried my notebook about with me. I'll hear a word sometimes that someone else says, not even in the context of kind of help, and I'll write down the word because it lands. And it's like a jigsaw puzzle piece for me. I have all of these multiple words that really have this connection. And then it's like arranging that jigsaw into sentences and paragraphs and language and taking that look back. And then you just know, in the same way that when intuitive psychology came through, as soon as you hear that term, it resonates and it lands, and it's not just a conscious understanding, it's an energetic feeling. And that's what words do, and that's what language do. And, if you're in this industry as a coach, or you're thinking about becoming a coach, or regardless of what you do, you'll know that. You'll know that describing what you do for your clients, for example, can be really complex. Put in words around the internal changes and shifts that you create and the results that you get can be quite challenging. But it's really important because language helps us grasp these concepts and understand them in a deeper way. So yeah, for me, it's a jigsaw puzzle, different words, different things, and trying to arrange that together in a way that really deeply lands.
When you wrote it, did you feel like you were in flow?
Yeah, I can't really, anytime I do something like that, whether it's the books that I've written or I have flow moments, I can't remember fully writing it. I know that I did, but it's that feeling of timelines collapse. Like, you're kind of, you're not anywhere. You're so engrossed in the moment. Um and words flow, and you can't remember. And because my husband came downstairs at one point, he was trying to ask me, but I think it was probably about the dinner, that you saw me like stuffing down my face when you video called. And I was like, don't talk, because I knew the minute that he, like, if I was pulled into something, that would have been that
Yeah.
flow would have been disruptive, and it takes me a while to get back into it. It was like, don't, and he knows kind of the signal now, that the hand goes up and he's like, right, okay, and off he kind of goes. So yeah, just in the flow of it, just letting the words come, not really being consciously aware, but it feels like this otherworldly experience, and I think a lot of creatives get that.
I certainly do, and I relate massively to what you're saying. And I feel like for me that comes a lot, and that's flow, right? When even simple things like making dinner, out a
Hmm.
walk. For me, I remember when I was in Bali, or even just journaling, but Bali in particular, and I was vlogging quite a bit, and blogging at the same time. And it was honestly like something was being channeled through me. And when I read back on those, God, they're emotional. And I'm like,
Mm.
did I write that? That doesn't feel like me. And even with when anyone, if you are into journaling, sometimes it's almost like a third person coming through you. It's like your highest self coming through and channeling through you. Um, the pure words that you need to hear, that the world needs to hear. And I love that when I'm in that state, it's like I'm not my human self.
Yeah.
I'm not the attachment. I'm not the noise. I'm not the fear. I'm not the shame. It's the I am. And as you spoke, it was just, and that's why I got it when I read it. I'm like, that for me is the I am. It's
Hmm.
the I am everything. It's the it's not, I'm not here, I'm there, or there I am. And it's just
Yeah.
beautiful. And hopefully anyone listening to that, you've had moments of that in your life, because that's pure, that's gold, it's magical. And we all have access to that when we create the space for it and trust ourselves. And the more that we can tap into our intuition, and it's why we're so passionate about it, the more tapped in and turned on to our intuition we are, the more magical life is, and the easier things become. You just
Mhm.
see it through without the filters of the BS of narratives and rubbish and all the noise. It's just the I am. It's so beautiful, Sarah. So I'm going to ask you to read it because I think it's just so beautiful. And
Thank
also,
you.
I think it just everyone can then understand, hopefully, by hearing it, what intuitive psychology is, right? So I'm going to hand it over to you, sister.
Thanks. And thank you for your kind words. I know this is both of our shared co-creation. So when I was sending it over to you, there's like that sense of vulnerability and excitement, around it. So thank you for your kind words. I really appreciate them. And I'm so happy that it captured what we've both created. And also for our intuitive psychology coaches out there who are listening, or if you're thinking about it, this will bring the work that you do to life, whether you're training with us, whether you want to train with us. Just take a moment just to listen to what exactly an intuitive psychology coach is, what we do in this work, and why we're so passionate. An intuitive psychology coach helps you believe in your future more than your past so that you can fully experience the present. Accredited to the highest level in the entire industry by the global body, the Association for Coaching, intuitive psychology coaches use innovative evidence and intuitive based frameworks to elicit transformative results faster than other coaching modalities. Intuitive psychology coaches are not just another life coach. They're not a sage on the stage or a guide on the side, but a coach in conscious connection, an equal. At the core of intuitive psychology coaching is the assumption that the client knows themselves better than anyone else, and that all answers, solutions that they are seeking are already within them, but not yet visible in consciousness. The role of the intuitive psychology coach is to facilitate techniques or inner journeys to elicit those answers, primarily through their signature eyes closed coaching to deeply access a client's intuition. Intuitive psychology coaches elicit deeply transformative results. Through the sphere of safety, intuitive psychology coaches create in their sessions, they help clients identify the unmet needs that are subconsciously sabotaging and blocking the client's future potential. And it's by helping clients see and understand the invisible contents of their shadow that previously submerged potential feels safe to be realized. In other words, the grip of the past is released and the client begins to flow into their full, authentic expression of themselves and their potential. Intuitive psychology coaches work with leaders, organizations, individuals from a range of disciplines, from sports, HR, fitness, career coaching, empowerment to holistic health and healing. And all of our coaches, all intuitive psychology coaches, are intensely trained to the highest standard by the association, by the Intuitive Psychology Association. We are the world's first and only accredited coach training program in the world, and only one of 11 providers to accredit to this level. And this is what makes our coaches world class.
Wow. Oh, so beautiful. And thank you for reading that, Sarah. And I actually, in that moment, I just feel so immensely proud of us as well. I'm like, yeah, just so proud of us to, yeah, for being the the people that have taken that out to the world, that
Yeah.
that created that were willing to let go of the comfortable, to get uncomfortable, to feel challenged. Um, but it takes that. It takes that. I believe it was for us to
Mhm.
channel and to give to the world. It will be here when we're not here. We're like the vehicle. But that willingness that we both had to dig deep at times, and you sent me the other day that clip where my thing wouldn't upload and I was trying to, and I remember one day, guys, right, I'm laughing, right? So the work that Sarah and I have put into intuitive psychology, and I just want to say, it takes whatever you see on social media with anyone, and hopefully it's not by us because we try and be as transparent and open and honest as possible, it takes grit, it takes
Mm-hmm.
work, it takes effort, and it takes hard work. And actually, it takes a real self-evaluation of who you are and that willingness to go the extra mile time and time again for a mission and a purpose that is bigger than you. Sarah and I could have kept going with our businesses that we loved, that were successful, but we were willing to let that go, including financial security,
Mm-hmm.
uh, a job, like clients that we loved working with, for something that was bigger than us, that we didn't have the certainty of, right, we cannot guarantee this will work, but there was something deeper, and it was a knowing that it would, even in the most challenging times when, you know, we both felt it working. And it has taken work. You know, there's times we've been on at like 7 in the morning and not finished till 10 at night.
Yeah.
And not just once, right? And I want to say that to you, like, if you have a mission, be willing to put the work in to do it, because the success, whatever that looks like, it doesn't come by sitting expecting it to land on your lap. It does take commitment, it takes work, but it is worth it. And IP for us is our mission, it's our dharma, it's our purpose, it's why we're here. And just hearing those words that you said, it's not even, you know, there's the training aspect, it's the people that come and train with us, but it's the lives that they then impact. It's the people who come who want to work with an intuitive psychology coach. You know, when you work with an intuitive psychology coach, you can be confident that you are working with someone who is accredited to the highest level, who is
Mm-hmm.
highly skilled, who has done this work. Like what me and Sarah talk about, that deeper work, every single technique that we train in, our students embody. They cannot pass their diploma until they've embodied this work. So you can be certain that you've not just got the guide or the sage on the stage telling you how to live, but has got like baggage as big
Mm-hmm.
as Santa Claus's sack that they're carrying around because they're not willing to do their work. That was a non-negotiable for us, that when our students came to train with us, they went through their own personal journey so that they could be the expert, right?
Yeah. And you described it really beautifully. You know, before we were recording this podcast, we were talking about the importance of our coaches, you know, not being that sage on the stage or the guide on the side, but this coach and conscious connection, like this equal. And you were describing it, and I thought it was so lovely. The language was this oneness, like this dance between you and the client, you know, this real from a place of expertise, but not from a place of elevated ego. And they're two very, very different things. And this oneness and this dance and this flow of energy between two people, you know, opening up that client's intuition, using your own intuition to know where to guide the client as they go there. You're feeling that and you're going there with them. And it's incredibly beautiful when you experience what it is to be coached by an intuitive psychology coach. It's very, very different from your traditional coaching, which is outdated, had its place in time, played its role. But let's face it, you can work with, say, a fitness expert who will tell you to run on the treadmill and what foods that you should eat. We have all that knowledge in the world. But when your intention is strong and you're a 10 out of 10 motivated, but each day you find yourself in the same loop, that's your past holding you back. That is something that is not in your conscious awareness that is keeping you stuck. And no amount of action and accountability plans are going to help with that. In fact, it's so forceful and effortful to create that change. But our coaches and their signature eyes closed coaching, when you go to a session with a coach or if you're coaching a client, you bring your clients into this theta state of being. It's not a meditative state. It's like a meditative state, but it's not hypnosis. It's not that. We call them inner journeys because it's that journey inward, inward deeply into the self to introspect and find the bits that are known in your awareness but not seen until you direct it there. And that's the subconscious, unconscious, to go in and see what's really going on here, what's really holding me back from my goals. And that is beautiful. And that is the results that clients are looking for. People know they have to eat better and move their bodies if they want to be fitter and healthier. What they don't know is why they can't do it. That's what people pay for. That's the results that people want. And if you know confidently you can get someone there, that maybe they're self-sabotaging, maybe they're a leader in their organization and they've hit that upper limit ceiling point. Maybe they're a corporate organization who is really struggling with team culture and they know all the things, they're doing the away days, they've got the mindfulness teacher in and it's not working. Well, imagine you could go in and show someone what's right under their nose and that they elicit those answers for themselves. That is the results that makes you a world-class coach, not filling in an action accountability plan, not asking someone how they want to feel or how they'd like to feel about it, but actually confidently going, let's see what you can't see. Let's see what's really tripping you up here.
Yeah, I love that. And actually, if anyone is listening to this, who is either in corporate HR, or in your own profession or something that you do. We have so many different people that train with us, from
Hmm.
athletics to football to rugby to my goodness, HR. God, there's so many, from wellness spaces, because this doesn't need to. You basically take intuitive psychology and it adapts to your niche, because it's consciousness. It's not like, well, there's a role of people it will work for, there's a role of people it won't work for. It works for everyone if the person is willing to take that journey inward. And so, again, for anyone who's thinking, well, that's amazing, I don't want to train to become a coach, but I want to work with an intuitive psychology coach, then you can actually find qualified intuitive psychology coaches on our website. I'll drop the link in the show notes, but it's www.intuitive-psychology.com, and we have a page, a coaching directory page with all of our qualified, well, not all of them, the ones that are in our membership and they're on there, who that you can actually find one and have a little browse and see if you want to book in a session or two or three with an intuitive psychology coach to experience that for yourself, because we can talk about it, but actually it's what we can't see. It's
Hmm.
it elicits, right, when you are taken through one of these techniques, Sarah. It's incredible.
It is. And also, if you're listening and you don't want to be just another life coach and you're trying to find that modality that really aligns with you, something that weaves in the energy, the intellect, the emotional side, something that has the all of the components that you know that are important, and you want to go deeper with your clients and you want to be known as a coach who is an expert in their field. And let's be really, really honest. A lot of training providers will say, do you want to be a world class coach? And we train world class coaches, but they can't evidence it, right? They just say it. We can evidence it because we're the world's first and only to do this. And we're one of 11 training organizations in the world who can accredit to this level, which is the highest level in the entire industry. So there are not that many coaches trained to this level because there's not that many training providers. And our techniques are so innovative. So when we use the term world class, we use it because we can evidence it. And if you know that that's what you want to do, then applications are open to join in October. And this is your sign and your time to get on our website, to read more about it, to look at the curriculum, to watch the free masterclass, to bring more of this to life for you. All of the resources are there, but spaces are limited. They're really filling up now, as we approach that October deadline. We had some people that took the early bird offer. We have people who continually sign up, but this is when we see the most amount of interest, is when it becomes that cutoff point now. Calls are getting booked in We don't want you to miss out on your space. And the reason for that is cohort 3 is so different than anything that we've ever ran before. This is the first time that we are certifying people in 8 different certifications under one diploma. This is the first time that we're really rolling out our post certification support. This is the first time that we are giving client onboarding packs, coaching contracts, all beautifully designed for you so that your business is ready to go. If there has never been a better time to sign up than to be part of cohort 3. And this is your last opportunity to train with us in 2024. So don't delay on this. If your heart is called towards this, as your mind is called towards this, if you know and you can see the return on investment, for this is huge. That is a business ready to go, can I just say?
I think the
Everything is
money
there for you.
piece on its own, Sarah. Like, I've paid more for coaching and that hasn't even got me anything like that.
Exactly.
I've
Do you
paid
know,
more for coaching, for my own personal coaching, than this diploma. Like, seriously, it is. To me, it's a no-brainer. And I'm not trying to downplay anyone's circumstances. Yours are your own. But this is you're coached for 6 months. You're actually going through training for 6 months. You will learn world-class techniques. You have your diploma, 8 certifications, post-certification support, all of that. As Sarah said, all the documentation for your, all the beautifully created paperwork for you to onboarding packs for you to go out with, like all of that, for the
yeah, it's all there because we've removed all of the uncertainty, anything that we didn't have, anything that prevented us from doing what we loved to do when we first started our businesses. We love to coach, we love to work with clients, we love to get those results. That is what makes our souls light up. But things like getting your client onboarding packs, your follow-ups, all of that, like it's all done for you. All of that uncertainty is taken away, and we're really excited. We've got some incredible people who have signed up in cohort 3. And we hope that today it's given you a deeper insight into what it means to be an intuitive psychology coach, um, what we stand for, and also the experiences that you can expect when you work with an intuitive psychology coach. A coach who can work with the past, the present, and the future, because that is how we operate as humans. That's how the self is connected, is in all of those timelines. And it's a beautiful thing whenever someone enables you to believe in your future more than your past so that you can deeply experience the present moment. That's really what it is to be alive. And whether you do that for someone in health and fitness or sports or in the corporate world, or you know, um, women who are going through the menopause or empty nesters, whatever it is that you feel called to work with, as Jill said, everyone wants that. Everyone wants that feeling. And we understand that feeling. But here's the skill. How do you get someone there? That's the skill. And that's the bit that we train you in.
Love it. Love it. Amazing. Great, Sarah. This was such a beautiful conversation. And I hope that you, as a listener, got a lot from this. And if there isn't any uncertainty around it, we hope that we've quashed that. And we would just encourage you to back yourself. Back yourself, put your application in, book your call, book your clarity call, watch the masterclass, but don't hang around. If you've seen enough, you've heard enough, then chances are you're ready to go. We cannot guarantee you a place. Everyone is interviewed. We say this to people all the time. Intuitive psychology is everything to Sarah and I and more. And it is important that every single person that comes through the door is the right person and they are in this industry for the right reasons. We have said no to people before because it's not aligned. We will never compromise our values for anything or anyone. But if you feel that pull, then there's a good chance that you're meant to be here. And we would love to have that conversation with you. Get off the fence. Let's have a conversation. Yeah. Thanks, Sarah. Great conversation. Have a great week, everyone.